I've always been involved in photography. I started out when I was about 9 years old. My dad built a darkroom in the basement for my older brother and for him, and I eventually threw them both out. I stayed with photography through high school, photographing just about anything that moved, all the sports. Didn't do the yearbook. That was professionally done at the time, but a lot of the newspaper things and, as I said, the sports. Went on to college and, again, continued in photography, graduated from college and stayed in photography in a retail photography store. Was there for seven years. Moved up to Chicago for a photography sales job, which was the worst year of my life, and then went back into retail for 12 years at Standard Photo Supply. I rode that horse till it died, and they were sold out, and moved on to Ross Ellert Photo Labs for 3 years. So it's been in my blood, and I was also a certified purchasing manager, became a lifetime certified purchasing manager, and again, was involved in photography with my last day job. And when they decided they didn't need me anymore, I said to myself, well, the kids are out of the house is paid for, it's not going to get any easier, it's time to marry my mistress. And so I did. And I've never looked back. I love what I do what I love, and I get paid for it. So I never work a day in my life. I enjoy the technology. The shift from film to digital for me was fairly seamless, fairly painless, and I enjoy working with people. Every event is different, every wedding is different, every project is different, and so it's always interesting. It's always something that's going on that's a challenge. And that's the part of it that I enjoy, as well, of course, as just pushing the button. I'm much better behind the camera than I am in front of it.
So being a photographer, you're very observant and you look, and so any events, what is your vision in those events? What kind of moments are you looking for to take a picture of?
The unusual moments. Everybody can get a picture of a bride walking down the aisle, but do you see the tear in the corner of mom's eye as they walk down the aisle? No. That's what I'm looking for. Do you see the bride and groom holding hands and just get a picture of the hands? Or if you are at a larger event, a business event, looking for people interacting, shaking hands, exchanging business cards, not just talking heads. And the important part, again, even with a speaker, to wait for that moment when the speaker is gesturing, not just, again, to get a talking head. Talking heads aren't interesting, even on video, but to have some action, some motion, some emotion in the image. A client with a project that, they need to understand that there is a cost to doing that photography, I have no clue. $20,000, $30,000 invested in hardware and 35 years experience. That shouldn't come cheap. But there are a lot of people out there who simply press and pray and call themselves photographers. And even a machine gunner will hit somebody sometime. But to get an image right the first time is the challenge. And so that's where I'm headed. Anything from headshots to products to photographing their business, the premises of the business, the exterior, the interior. I've worked in factories. I've worked with welders and industrial situations where you have sparks. You have to catch the sparks coming off the work, or a book bindery where we were dealing with books coming through a system. So all kinds of challenges, as well, of course, as events involving people.
Well, you said your kids were all grown up. How many kids do you have?
3 boys.
3 boys?
30,
Yeah.
39, 35, and 30.
Wow, yep, all grown up.
And 2 grandchildren.
Oh, that's great. What do you do for fun then?
What do I do for fun?
Now that the kids are grown up.
When I'm not working, which is most of the time, we have a large garden, and I love to work in the garden, and I also do a lot of vegetable preserving, and I make a lot of incredible amount of jellies and preserves and so forth out of fruit. I'll combine all kinds of weird things. I've used, somebody gave me a huge bag of limes. What do you do with limes? Half went with tequila, half went with rum.
That was good.
I'll experiment with whatever's in the liquor cabinet, with wine or with, I did Canadian Club. I'll put vegetables, shredded vegetables in with the fruit to change the texture a little bit. No two batches are ever the same. It's like an event. No two events are ever the same. And of course, I love being with my grandchildren. They are 8 months and 5 months, so it's really a trip. Photography in general and video in general is taken as too much of a given, and it's become a commodity, and it needs to come back from being a commodity to being a specialty, to where we can make a good living doing this. I don't want to be a millionaire, but I don't want to starve to death either. And companies are beginning to realize that the iPhone is not good enough, that good enough is not good enough. And as this trend continues, I think the industry will improve and our incomes will improve.